Oh dear Lord, the Sky are screwed. The Sky are screwed. You might say the sky is falling. But yeah, the Sky GM has come out. Apologies there. The Sky GM has come out and talked about the team's bad start, and there are some things that I'm like, oh dear God, this team is screwed. This team is actually screwed. So this is from the Chicago Sun Times right here. The Sky believed they were ready to compete for a playoff spot season, where the team could give anyone a fight. There's no sugarcoating how things have gone. They sputtered early, lost Sloot to a torn ACL. They're near the bottom of the league, but offensively and defensively, after loading up on veterans, even understanding that growth takes time, the Sky shouldn't have been this bad. They've won 2 games and both were against the Wings, who were the worst team in the W. It's a long season, there's a lot of game left, but this is unexpected and I've been very disappointed. General Manager Jeff Pagliocca told the Sun Times as he sat in seats at Barclays Centre watching his team's morning shoot around. We had pretty big, significant expectations for the season, which is why I made the moves I made. His assessment was that the Sky's 2-6 need to improve everywhere going into to address the lack of cohesion on defense and poor shooting. Going into Tuesday night's loss, they let a league worst 90.1 points per game. We're shooting just 39%. Diving into the details of their ugly start, Bagliacca hit on insufficient pressure on the perimeter defensively, a lack of confidence in shooting, inconsistent effort and execution of coach Tyler Marsh's game plan, and failure to curb opponents' runs before they become devastating. He's not wrong, but it's very easy to just say what's wrong rather than fix it. It's a lot easier to say. It's a lot easier. Like, I mean this when I say this. It's way easier being in the position that he's in, for example, that he's not on the court talking about it. Just like I always hear people like, oh, whatever. It's like, oh, I genuinely, this is a weird comment I don't understand. People are like, oh, like on mine, oh, you could coach the you could coach the Fever. I'm like, man, I I am an assistant coach in one of the lowest levels of pro basketball there is, or in the lowest 5%. And I don't know if I'm ready because there's so much more to coaching than knowing ball. You got to know your players. You got to know what ways to get your players going. You got to know certain stats. You got to be adaptable. You got to know when to call timeouts. There's so many aspects of coaching. It's hard. Being a head coach is a thankless job at the professional level, unless you are the top of the top. Unless you're Cheryl Reeve, it's a thankless job. But yeah, obviously. But every conversation with this guy starts before Angel Reese. At a price tag of being a face franchise, she's averaging 9.1 points, 12.2 rebounds entering Tuesday. Both numbers down from last season. Her turnovers are up nearly 4 per game. She had 5 on Tuesday, so it's probably up about 4 per game now. That decline comes at a time when she and the Sky sought to broaden her game by stretching her shooting range and maximizing her playmaking ability. Ironically, she's actually shooting better from 3 than from layups this year. And some has yet to come together, but it's a necessity for us to win. She's had some great games. She's had some games like everyone else that hasn't been her best. She's our best chance of versatility on the roster. We need more production out of her, but we need her to help us in other ways too. He just said that. He just said we need more production. We need her to help us in other ways. She's the best chance of versatility. This team is nothing. If Angel Reese is your best, if a one-dimensional rebounder is your best chance of versatility, and sorry, Angel Reese dribbles the ball through her legs, okay. Like she's not, if you look at her handle in transition, she struggles, but when she's standing on the spot going tween, she's actually gotten pretty good at that. It's now turning that into a functional handle, which is possible. It's always possible. But it says here as well, she's been putting in time. She's a great teammate. She knows we need to use her in a variety of ways. We're still trying to pinpoint the most advantageous part of that. Problem is that she's a center. That's the biggest part, is that she's able to use her mismatch, which is her speed versus centers, because she's strong enough to guard centers. She's able to use her mismatch. Her mismatch is at the 5. She's able to take on people on the perimeter because she's quicker than them. She's got a very quick first step. The problem is she is not quite strong enough to play bully ball on 4s. She just gets blocked. She got blocked 5 times against the Liberty. Or 4 times against the Liberty. Even though she started off on fire, she got blocked 4 times against the Liberty. So it's not like there was anything too crazy in that one. But like, the problem is that her playing power forward plays to her weaknesses and not her strengths. She can be a stretch 5. She can be a kind of small ball 5 who's able to like run the floor and be aggressive, but That's not how they want to play her. They think she's going to be a freaking Asia. No, that's not happening. But she's been putting in time, obviously. The alternative is that Reese stays the same player she was a rookie, which creates redundancy and has her crowding the paint with center Cardoso. Like indicated Tuesday, he's inclined to stagger their playing time to get better spacing. Yeah. Wow. Who would have guessed? Who would have ever guessed? That Reese and Cardoso couldn't work together? Wow. It'll be an interesting one to see in 5 years who's the better player. It will be. Again, the weird thing with Cardoso, I wonder how much grace we give Cardoso for just a lack of motor. Like, that's the only problem with Cardoso. She has no motor. She makes Satu look like she plays with the most intensity in the entire league. That's how little motor she has. Reese hasn't took responsibility. Hold my head down, work every single day. I don't give up on anything. I critique myself the most. But then, obviously, Tyler Marsh as a coach. Through this ordeal, Marsh has been trying to balance conviction and scheme against pressure to adjust a plan that hasn't produced results. Pagliocca backed emphatically. The record does not reflect the amount of work put in. I'm sorry, this is pro sports. The team who works the hardest is not going to win. It is not about what team works hard and coaches that put in effort. Sometimes you're maybe the right coach for the wrong team. Sometimes you're the wrong coach, period. Sometimes you're just an assistant, and you're a damn good assistant. Sometimes you're the best developmental coach the league has ever seen, but you're not a good head coach. Like your in-game adjustment. His in-game adjustments seem to be horrendous. They are not only horrendous, non-existent. I think Tyler Marsh is a really smart man as far as a basketball coach. I think he's an extremely smart basketball coach. I will not question Tyler Marsh's knowledge of the game. I will not question Tyler Marsh's ability as a developmental coach. However, everyone's talking about how he was going to develop these players coming in. The problem is that when you become a head coach, your job is not to develop players. Your job is to put out a system and win games. That is not your job, to develop players. That is the job of the assistants, the developmental coaches. It's their job. Problem is that Tyler Marsh should probably be one of those coaches and have someone else the head coach. And I would say they probably flamed down on Stephanie White. Not one of their choices, but they chose the wrong Golden State Valkyries. The wrong Aces assistant coach. Natalie Nakase is killing it in Golden State. But yeah, everyone knows not good. Good attitudes don't factor in the standings. They might have the foundation for something future, but Sky or win now mode, they desperately need to play like it. I'm sorry, I just mean this right now. For Jason Leiser, if the Chicago Sky fans did not like Annie Costable, I'm not sure. I still don't know how to pronounce her name. This, without doubt, this is the most, the tough, I really want to see what the fans, if they're going to go nuts, because, and by the way, everybody's talking about how this is this ultra flawed roster. There is only 2 flaws in this roster. There are 2 flaws in this roster. I don't know what the hell just happened right there. I don't even know what I clicked to have those balloons going up. But there are 2 flaws to the roster. And you want to know what the 2 flaws are? That must be just a piece thing. I don't know. This is a weird laptop. I'm sorry. The flaws in the roster are Angel Reese and Cardoso can't play with each other. And you overpaid Courtney Vandersloot. I don't think this is a flawed roster. By any means. Everyone's blaming him for putting together a flawed roster. I'm sorry. If you replace Camila Cardoso with Alana Smith, they win games. Maybe not with Sloot. If you replace Camila Cardoso with Alana Smith, they're a playoff team. If you replace Angel Reese with... I'm trying to think of a player that could play beside her. Heck, even if you replace Angel Reese with Kiki Iriafen, they're winning games. The problem is the front court. The problem is the front court. They cram the key. They pack in the lane. No one can drive to the basket. So Ariel Atkins can't get to the basket. And she's forced to shoot exclusively one-leg fadeaway and middies. She can't do anything. Sloot has no space to work out the pick and roll. She's now injured. There's no backup point guard. So that is a flaw in fairness. But I don't think this is a flawed roster. I think there was a big flaw. And by the sound of things, I would say I have a weird feeling the Sky are very close to giving up on Cardoso, which is probably the best thing for Camila Cardoso's career. If she wants to get into the All-Star All-W category. Her getting the Sky giving up on her and giving her up for, I don't know, trying to go off the top of my head. You're not getting Kiki Iriafen for her. You're not getting a top 5 pick in next year's draft for her. If you give up Cardoso for, if you go to Washington and let's just say Washington get the 5th pick in the draft. If you got to go and give Washington Cardoso, who actually do need a true center beside Kiki, give Washington Cardoso for the swap rights back for your 2027 pick, and Aaliyah Edwards maybe, I'd do that. I'd do that. Swap rights back in Aaliyah Edwards. I think Aaliyah Edwards has got that ability to stretch the floor. I think she can play beside Angel, move Angel to her actual position, which is center, and things would go well. But I don't think it's a flawed roster. I think they have a flawed. They're trying to build the duo they're trying to build around is extremely flawed together. That is my opinion. And also, they don't try. Like, they don't try very hard. None of the players in this team try very hard. Like, that is the problem. It is not a flaw of the GM that the team don't try.